I kind of want to hit this thing because this is a windmill I'm trying to tilt at right here. It drives me nuts. I think it takes offense out of the game. And if I may just remain on my soapbox a little bit longer, I think it has added to more strikeouts, that I think a lot of guys are trying to hit it over the shift, and it takes offense out of the game. I'm wondering if there is any appetite from your position to put a rule out there to get rid of the shift.
Well, I promised Pat Courtney, our
Yes.
PR director, that I would not get into individual rule changes today. But let me say this, and
Okay.
I do think it's important. I think there's a consensus, a growing consensus among ownership that we need to have a serious dialogue with the players that goes beyond pace of play and talks about the way the game is being played on the field. And I think that there's been a lot of I call it organic change, changes that have been driven by general managers and managers trying to win one or two more games. It has changed the way the game looks on the field. And I think we need to have a conversation about whether or not it's time to intercede and manage that change a little more aggressively. Shifts are at the top of a lot of people's lists.
Yeah, it's certainly at the top of mine. I asked A.J. Hinch, who is obviously somebody who uses it quite a bit and is an analytics centric, although a guy who just manages from the gut as well. That's why he's obviously so successful and is
Right.
is the World Series defending champion manager. If he would have an appetite for a rule, and he said absolutely not. Like, he was telling me to basically go pound sand on this idea.
Yeah, I think that the counter argument is that we've never gotten into defensive positioning, and it would be a big change. And I think the other concern that people have is how predictable will the outcome be? So let's start with shifts, right?
Sure.
So when shifts started to become more and more prevalent, everybody said, "Don't worry about it. These are the greatest athletes in the world. They're going to adjust." And everybody assumed the adjustment would be, we'll hit it the other way, right?
Yeah.
To the open part of the field. Well, they were right on 1 and 2. They are the greatest athletes in the world. They did adjust. Unfortunately, the adjustment they made is, I'm going to try to hit everything up over the top, right? I'm going to hit over the shift. And why? Why? Because analytics told them that the value of getting that home run in terms of producing a win is higher than hitting to the opposite field. So when you start making these rules, you have to really think through carefully. You want to manage the game. You want to keep the game entertaining for the fans. But you really have to think through carefully what the outcome is really going to be and whether you're going to get the outcome you want.
Well, again, at the risk of potentially upsetting our friend Pat Courtney, who is the best at what he does in this business, and I'm not just saying that to butter you up because I'm about to ask the commissioner the rules-related question. But Tony Clark, the MLB Players Association chief, said that there is, as he said, gaining momentum for designated hitter in the National League. Would you agree with that assessment, that that's gaining momentum?
Yeah, somebody read that quote to me. We did back-to-backs with the baseball writers. Yeah. My impression, and maybe this is me overestimating my ability to make deals, has always been since 1987 that if I want to make a deal with the MLBPA about spreading the DH to the National League, that deal was out there to be had. So the fact that he's saying it's something new surprises me a little bit, but the substantive position does not. I think players in general have been in favor of the designated hitter, so that's not a big surprise. I'm not sure in this overall conversation whether the DH should or shouldn't play a major role, the expansion of the DH. I do know this. There is a brand of baseball played in the National League that's only played in the National League now, and to move the designated hitter over there and make that brand of baseball extinct, I think we're going to have to think carefully about that before we make that move.
It's a very traditionalist approach right there.
Yeah, every once in a while, even I slip into it. You got to cater to everybody, but I'm not sure it's the answer. But I am committed to the idea that we need to be having a conversation, including obviously the people who play the game on the field, the players. We've been after Tony to get at this conversation. I don't think about it as, Rob Manfred's out there trying to change the game, or the owners are out there trying to change the game. I think about it as the game's changing, it's changing organically, and are we just going to let that happen, or are we going to manage the outcome in order to preserve a game that we all love, that's a great game, has great bones, and to enhance its entertainment value for the fans?
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.